What's up, Charles?
What's up, Leonard? How you doing, man? We doing good today?
Tired, man. Still in there.
Brother, I love y'all. I love y'all mask, man. I'm jealous of your mask.
Well, you gotta stay fashion too, right?
Yeah.
Yours is cool too. Where'd you get yours?
Man, young lady that's been caring for Clayton when me and Samantha travels, Shanice, shout out to her. She makes them. So, this is the mask that we have, but she do a great job too.
Good, yeah.
Well, I like the Mortal Kombat look. Your mask remind me of Mortal Kombat. Like Scorpio, what's his name? Scorpion or Scorpio?
Yeah, Scorpio, I think I know.
With the little mask he had, that's what it remind me of. Right?
Yeah, trying to stay fighting, man. You gotta stay.
Yeah, man.
Stay focused, man.
You gotta stay focused, bro.
But we got masks, guys. So I think it gotta take, everything consideration. Practice safety, mask. But how you coping, man? Haircut.
Bro, me and my wife, Samantha, had a conversation recently. She was like, my baby need a haircut. And I'm like, he does. She's like, well, I'm gonna cut it. I said, you are not touching my son's head. Like, a young black boy's head is sacred to a dad. Like, if you're a black father, you ain't letting your wife cut the hair, right? You gonna make sure you get the hair cut, or if you take any risk on his hair being cut, you gonna cut it. And that may be shout out to the wives out there. Maybe some wives out there that can really cut well, but my wife ain't one of them, right? So if anyone's gonna experience, it's gonna be me. But for the most part, man, what I'm doing to really try to keep my mind right is get back into working out. So I'm doing this little workout video series outside every morning. I'm outside working out, man, doing yoga, doing all types of crazy stuff that my body has never done before. Woo! So that's one way.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, man. Another way is prayer, man. Prayer helps, But for the most part, working out, prayer, those are very, very helpful options for me. How about yourself, man? What you doing to hold up?
Man, I think walking. Just grab my headphone and go for a walk. And because I can see gaining weight. You got to be transparent. But it's all right, though. I think that everybody's going through it, man. But I think prayer as well. Staying sane. I just focus on things I can control.
Yeah.
And also, I manage how I consume information, because that's the temptation. There's a lot of information out there, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that can be very overwhelmed. So it's funny. I'm learning how to consume that information. I think that's definitely something that you can kind of tell the people out there, just manage how you consume, man, because it's a lot that comes left and right. And you want to give into the stress, but you don't want to do that. Yeah, most part, especially walking and jog and praying and knowing that God is in control. For those of you out there who's practicing the faith and regardless of faith. So
yeah,
you got to do what works for you.
Yeah, man.
I think that's especially for the dad, for the men out there. Got to do what works for you. We stay here supporting. Sometimes, people don't know what to do. I think it's good to make sure that you got your own self-care. I'm wearing the hat because I got a little mountain underneath.
Your hair, man. I think this is a time where a lot of people are missing their barbers.
Yeah.
My barber's been cutting my hair since I've been in Boston. That's almost been 10 years.
Wow.
But I miss him dearly, man. I haven't seen him in a long time. So what I do, brothers, if you are having a hair issue like me, I'm going to give you some advice. What works for me is that I wash my hair every day. And I get a do-rag. I still wear my do-rags. And I put my do-rag on. I got traditional black do-rag. And I put my do-rag on my head and I wrap it. And I sleep with it on. And when I take it off in the morning, it look like I got waves or curls pressed. But it helps me. That's what I do for my hair. So I would encourage you guys, listen, ain't nothing like a good traditional do-rag. You go to the dollar store, you go to the beauty store. Hey, you may not want a black do-rag. Get you a red do-rag, get you a purple do-rag, whatever works for you. But for me, man, that's keeping me sane in the midst of me not being able to see my barber. My wife refused to let me go see my barber. She said, you ain't going to see no barber? I said, oh, yes, ma'am. I would not go see no barber. We expecting too, so I can't be playing around like that.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Nah, safety is the key, man. But hey, y'all, we live, man. Are we live now? AFAR.
AFAR, baby.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome, welcome.
Welcome to AFAR.
What does it stand for, AFAR?
Absent for a reason. Today, what I wanted to have a conversation with you about, Leonard, was the importance of fathers. Like I was asked this question yesterday, why are fathers important and why is it that you're doing what you do? And I'm just curious, man, from your perspective, why are fathers important? Why are you doing what you do? Now I can share a little bit more about my perspective, but that's a question that I get everywhere that I go when I travel. Why do fathers matter? And I'm like, it's sad to me that I have to answer that question, but that's as I say, why do mothers matter? Right. But for the most part, I think it's, opportunity for us just to explore that a little bit more here. Can we do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think it's one word that comes to mind, man, just to kind of throw it out there, so they won't feel voiceless.
Yeah.
Because I think that having a voice is a key. And when you're out there, man, you're trying to be a productive citizen, you're trying to be a parent. I think that it's important to have a voice. I think what I mean by that is, as you're out there navigating, getting connected to resources, man, especially during COVID-19 and the time that we're in. And you think that, because fatherhood is a blessing, right? I think everybody knows that. But I think it's important for me, to make sure that, I have a voice as a dad, whether it's in family setting, in the community, whether it's out there just really receiving support. Because the reality is, many dads don't have voices. So I think voiceless comes to mind. And I think the question is, how do you advocate for yourself to find your voice? I think that's the question. How do you find your voice?
How do you find your voice?
How do you find your voice?
Wow, man. Let's take into consideration being a Black man, in America, right? To hold on to your values is one of the most difficult things that you can possibly do, right? To know that you are worthy despite what everybody else or every system tells you. Because when you wake up in the morning, man, there's a system out there that's telling you that you ain't worth nothing. There may be a commercial, there may be a television show, there may be a movie, regardless of what the issue is, right? But it's hard as a Black man to know that you are worthy, right? It really is, man. And if we remove race, it's hard for fathers in general to know that you're worthy outside of traditional norms such as providing or, taking care of your family, because we all have been taught to do those things or that we needed to do those things to be valuable as fathers, man. And, as we think about that question, why do fathers matter? And why are fathers important, Leonard? And your question is, how do you hold on to your voice when people or systems may suggest that you don't matter? Man, that's the topic today.
Yeah, you don't got a voice.
Yeah, man. Like if your daughter, Leonard has a daughter and a son. I have a son and a daughter on the way.
Check you out, Charles.
I'm a girl dad in the future.
Welcome on board.
Welcome aboard, man. But I'm kind of curious about how they would answer that question. Like, why your dad matter? What would they say? Like, your kid's a little bit older, Leonard. I mean, have you and your children ever talked about like why you matter or why they love you, why you're important? Any thoughts about that?
No, I think I get to learn how they feel. I think Father's Day when they send a card. My daughter being 16, she wrote me a beautiful card. I think what got to me, I think the point she made that I appreciate the fact that you here. I appreciate the fact that you teaching me how to be grateful of the people around you, and I start or around me, and it start with you. Because one of the things, raising a teacher is not easy. Because, I'll tell her, hey, Kayla, you have teachers, you have people who can support you, but don't forget dad is here. Being a teenager. But for some reason, she took that to heart and she said, I'm learning to really pay attention to you because you are here. And I think for me, being accessible is very key, right? Because when you're out there just kind of co-parenting, I think as long as you find a way to make sure that you have access to your kids and trying to figure out how does it look like, and make sure that they're accessible. And obviously with the technology, you got the phone. And I think my son, for me, I think, thank you for showing me around. Thank you for showing me, he wrote, thank you for showing me the city of Boston. Thank you for bringing us to your event, to your community, and to your jobs. And then my daughter one time, was sharing to everybody that, she, my dad works at Father's Uplift. If you want help, you want resources to contact my dad. She had her supervisor reaching out to me, saying, "Hey,
man,
Mr. Chitanga, yeah, my daughter said you guys work with fathers and in the community." So, and then her coming to the agency and see the work that we do, and I think it's a very, very powerful, man, doing this work and be able to be in an environment, man. Even your family is part of it, the kids. So that's definitely shout out to you, Charles, and the culture that we create, man. But I think it's very powerful. And I think what I'm doing, I'm planting seeds as a farmer. Because when you plant seeds, you cultivate. And I think that's what we asked the dad too. Just plant the seeds, man. Plant the seeds. It's going to come back.
Your dad was in your life, Leonard.
Yeah, my dad was in my life. He's my role model. And, so it's like, I don't know what it's like not to have a dad, right? So I think the question becomes like, what was my pain?
Yeah.
Why am I doing this, right? And that's why advocacy came in. It was just, okay, my dad is around, but my pain was different. My pain was, wait a minute, I don't have a voice in here.
What was going on for you?
What's going on? And so it's a different type of pain. I mean, you're not trying to compare pain, but you want to really see the other side of pain, you know, because you have your pain, which he was not around. Mine is around, but now the advocacy piece comes about just finding your voice. So I have to learn how to find my voice.
When did you realize that you didn't have a voice as a father? Like, because I know you are very passionate about advocacy. You're a great advocate here at Fathers Uplift. You're the leader of our coaching program. And a lot of people have so much respect for you in the agency as well as in the community. And I'm just curious about just your personal experience from being able to find your voice as a father, like how you took that back. Like, what prompted you to become like this advocate for dads? Was it through a personal experience? Like, what was like your journey to becoming this advocate guy? Because listen, Leonard can advocate for anybody. He can advocate for that bag over there. There's a black bag over there, bro. He can advocate for that bag. He can advocate for you. He can advocate for a nun trying to leave the church. Let me tell you, he can advocate for anybody. Leonard, like, when was the advocate in you born? Like, what happened?
Anger. I was angry, right? So I think that anger was the fact that my first time interacting with family probate court, just a court system, when you go into divorce, that first interaction where you kind of see, you know, how you're being treated as a father, as a man, but most important as a black man. And I remember that first interaction. I remember the lawyer. There was a lawyer there. She kind of heard. She saw me. I was asking questions. She sat down. She said, "You sound like you're very organized and focused, but you're angry. And I know you're angry because you feel like, you know, no one's gonna listen to you. But I'm gonna tell you this: you're gonna have to fight." Because it's about your character. But my anger, so my anger comes from the fact that, you know, I felt like I was not listened to. I felt like I was overlooked, right? And I'm not saying this to trying to, you know, wage a war on, you know, co-parenting a mom. I'm saying that my pain was I was angry. So it's like, and I'm talking about the type of anger where using my intellect, so meaning that doing research and understanding, okay, why am I being treated this way? You know, based on what that lawyer planted seeds, man, because she said to me, she said, listen, man, it doesn't look good and a lot of brothers here, you know, kind of yelling, showing emotion, but I feel like you're very smart. Because she had directly said to me, just keep doing what they're doing. So anger, that I was very angry. So I used my anger in a sense to start just hosting an event, man, about dads, right? I remember I went to my church. I just told the priest, I said, listen, can I use your hall? I want to organize an event. I want to organize social issue. I want to do spoken word. I want to do this. And at the time, I have friends going through a lot of things too. So I found myself, I was active, but I was angry. But I was able to channel that anger in a very constructive way. And boom, welcome to advocacy, which means that just making sure that people have a voice, man. I was just meeting dads. And, you know, it was just like, so that's the kind of pain that when we see, you know, our dads going through, that, I don't have a voice, man. You know what I'm saying?
Bro, Leonard, listen, I got to call you bro, because you know how we roll. But this is the thing for me, Leonard. You know, coming from the person who was a father the first time with my son, Clayton, who's now 5, and not having a father in my life, I wasn't introduced to this feeling of voicelessness that fathers have, or the fight that they're engaging in when they're not in their kid's life, until I got up here. And I was like in my mid-20s. So growing up in a household without a father, like, I didn't know that narrative. I didn't know that dads actually are fighting. A lot of them are fighting to get back in their kids' life. I didn't know that dads are actually feeling voiceless and powerlessness. All I thought was, hey, well, dad ain't there. I ain't worth nothing. And, you know, there's an issue here. And mainly the issue is me not having him, and I don't like him because he's not there, man. But that's a whole nother side of the narrative that isn't revealed to you. And as you were talking about yours, man, I was just thinking about my own father, right? For me, growing up in a household without a father was extremely difficult. And, you know, I think about it from the perspective of not having a father around. You know, I could tell you what the research says. According to the research, when fathers are not present in their kids' lives, kids are more likely to have antisocial behavior, right? You know, they're more likely to end up having negative and delinquent behaviors, such as drug abuse, engaging in crimes, gang involvement and activity, right? That this search for a father figure and other things and other people, right? they're more likely to engage in sexual behavior early and have multiple sexual partners. When you talking about accelerated reproductive development is connected to not having a father. Educational attainment, high school dropout rates, low grade point averages, all that is connected to not having a father in the household, man. Incarceration. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And when I found out what the research said, Leonard, for me, I was like, man, you know, I was definitely in the category of substance use because I ended up abusing at an early age in college because my dad wasn't in my life and I felt worthless and I was trying to numb that pain. But also suicidal ideation is connected to father absence as well as depressive symptoms, you know? And for me, I fell in the suicidal ideation category. I was extremely depressed as a kid, right? But what I didn't know all along was the story that you just shared until I got up here to Boston.
And it's the same thing, Charles. Everything you shared, I did not know that. And I mean, I'm sure you know that because I migrated here from Boston, from Congo, my family, and then I went to multicultural high school. And the question that me and my sister was asking growing up is like, why everybody talking about their mama? So everything you just said, I didn't know that side. No clue. So I just have no clue. So it's good to have that two narrative because I'm like, I don't know what that pain, but then not understanding back then as I'm going to multicultural high school, learning English, it was just like there's something is not right. And obviously the breakdown of family. But let me ask you this, Charles. What was it that, I mean, obviously it's connected to worth as you was sharing. Like, what was it that just kind of like, okay, how did you find that worth, that self-worth? Charles,
oh man,
you worth it. Don't do it. What was it?
Oh man. So let me tell you, when I decided not to kill myself, that first point, I was still felt worthless. But for me at that age, as a child who was growing up in a father-absent household, I needed to know the reason behind my father's absence. You know, much of my pain was connected to not knowing that reason. My mom not wanting to talk about it. Family members not wanting to talk about it.
Wow.
Whatever was told to me, I didn't believe it because I already had my narrative in mind. I remember telling God, I said, God, if I'm going to be here, I need to know why my dad's absent. I'm hurt right now. I need to know. And I found out why he was absent. And he was trying to navigate a marital affair with his wife for 30 years. My mother was the outside woman. And I was born out of that outside relationship that he had. So he lived with his family, his wife, 3 hours away from where my mother and I had lived. So knowing that and receiving that answer, I was like, okay, now that's the first step to find that worth because I know something. Like I'm not just around here walking around as if, I'm to blame. Okay, Charles. Now, some of this may still be you. This is more at the beginning phase. Some of this may still be you. But, a little of this is that your dad had another relationship. He was married. Your mom was the outside woman. That can be difficult for anyone. But then when I got that full connection to my worth is when I came to Boston and attended Simmons School of Social Work to get my master's. And what ended up happening was that I had to do a project called Father's Uplift, which is a project then from the Albert Schweitzer Fellowship. Shout out to the Albert Schweitzer Fellowship.
Amazing.
They gave me a $3,000 stipend to do Father's Uplift as my project at the Dement Community Health Center in Roxbury. And there we met with dads weekly who were living in a sober home that's behind the Jackie Jenkins Scott building. You know what it is over there by Jamaican Flag?
Yeah.
And there I was meeting with dads who were not physically in their kids' lives. And I can tell you what happened. We were there every week eating dinner and they were not in their kids' lives. You know why they weren't in their kids' lives? Substance use, homelessness. But everything that we talked about was about their kids. So physically they wasn't there, but they was talking about their kids. Their kids had always been on their mind.
And that's why society don't see it.
Like, dang, I want to be there, but it's hard. Like, man, I want to be there, but I can't pick up the phone. Like, I want to be there, but I can't get housing because I don't feel good about myself, right? Because I have a criminal past. I can't get housing and I don't have the way to bring my kids because I'm homeless. I'm living in a sober home. Like, I'm like, wow, there are real challenges, but these guys are not in the household. Like my dad wasn't in the household, but they're coming to me talking about their kids while they're not in the household.
And that's something.
And I wanted to make sure that kids in those households where their fathers are not there knew that their dad still cared about them. So it really made me become more empathetic for my father.
Yeah.
So that's the second phase of me like getting further away from, oh, you to blame and having more worth. Now the third phase is gonna blow your mind. When I was having my child, Clayton Charles Daniels, right? Shout out to Clayton at home. Thinking he run everything, trying to argue with me, right? Messing up my carpet.
How old is he now?
He 5. Doug messing up my carpet, man, spilling his Ensure and red drinks on my carpet. I'm like, dude, I just got this carpet. But to make a long story short, when he was getting ready to be born, my mom brought up a book of me, my baby book. I think I shared the story before. I'm gonna share it again. And what ended up happening was that in that book, I was flipping through it. We was in the hospital getting ready for Clayton to be here. And I found a picture of my father holding me when I was a baby. I was about that time, like fresh baby. He was putting together my crib.
Wow.
And I realized then that, you know, him being absent had nothing to do with me. You know, life happened. There were some challenges, and he experienced an extreme amount of difficulty with navigating those challenges in life. And then I realized, I said, Charles, you know what? Your dad was human. He made a mistake, but he couldn't overcome what he was experiencing to be what he wanted to be for you. Because he was holding me, which means he had to be in the vicinity of the hospital when I was born. He had to be somewhere, right? He was putting together my crib, which, you know, I'm not even the type of guy who fits stuff, and putting the crib together is hard.
I know.
So he holding me, putting the crib together with his friend. So I'm like, okay, listen, Charles, this has nothing to do with you. We got to figure out what the issue is for many of these fathers out there and support them with overcoming them so they can stay engaged. And voila, now we're here. So that's how I connected to my birth, man.
Wow.
When I realized it wasn't about me, it was about my father.
Wow.
Ain't that something?
That's powerful, because it's to fight, because you have to fight internally. You know, I think that's what we do here, because it's like, and then you got to think about externally now. And I think that's what the advocacy piece, because internally you got to fight internally, and externally then you got to fight, okay, I got to advocate for myself.
Come on,
I
Leonard.
need the voice. They look into my past.
Come on, Leonard.
You know, the judge will not give me parenting time. And what do?
Leonard, you give me fired up.
So I know we're almost out of time because we're going to debrief, but I think at the end of the day, you know, I think it's two things, man. Remember, worth and how to fight. But you got, you know, you have internal factors, man, that are going to cripple you, but you got to deal with that. And the external coming. I think that's why, even though our story differ, but I think it's exactly how it lands when we support.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Because all the stat, that didn't apply to me. I mean, I couldn't relate.
And you're telling a story that don't apply to me because my father wasn't there, right? But you're giving me insight into what fathers are doing when they're trying to stay engaged in their kids' life. And I think that's what AFAR is all about, right? Is giving you both perspectives. The father who is, you know, actually had to fight to stay in his kid's life, and the child who did not have his father involved.
Yeah.
And there's various reasons why fathers are absent. Like we talked about last time, Leonard, dads don't wake up and just say, hey, I'm going to be absent and I'm not going to be there for my kid, physically and emotionally. It don't happen like that. You know, life happens and things ended up going the way that they did not plan. And sometimes it's difficult to overcome that.
Yep.
So we just look forward to having you back and continue to engage in this conversation.
So many to cover. Keep pushing, keep fighting, keep pushing, keep fighting, man. I know sometimes you want to give up, but you cannot give up. We won't let you give up. You know, we're not saying that we got answers to everything. We're not saying that we perfect. We're not even saying that we guarantee, but we said we won't stop until you get housing.
Come on.
We won't stop until you get a job.
Come on.
We won't stop until you get parenting time.
Come on.
We'll see you soon, man. Oh man, I'm already shaking.
Listen, we're gonna end with this poem that this dad wrote for me a long time ago. And listen, it is my chant every single morning. I wake up and look in the mirror and I say, Charles, you sexy, and you're gonna make it through this day. And I would encourage you to adopt this chant wherever you are in the world. So listen to it, and I hope that you can use it. United, we stand for equality, rewriting our history. Fathers and families united together, we stand for our promises and will forever. Never will we give up. Never will we give up. We will keep this same thing. In order to get where we need to be, we have to fix where we are. The sky is the limit, and we will achieve our dreams, unite our communities while embracing in love for times to come. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week at AFAR.
Amazing. Wow. Thank you, Charles. Woo! Are we live? Oh, Cheryl, we got a guest. Can she hear us? See us?
Attorney Cheryl?
Hey,
oh my
Cheryl.
God, it's going good.
Can you see us?
Nice meeting you. Wow. Glad you can make it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah,
as long as you can see us, man.
Yeah, we are definitely engaging in dialogue here. Glad you can make it.
No, glad for having me.
How you doing, Cheryl?
Everything's going well. Everything goes well.
That's good, man. Listen, man, it's a pleasure to have you here. Welcome to our podcast, AFAR. This is the brief. So, as you can see, this is Mr. Charles Daniel.
Yes.
CEO of Fathers Uplift. I really appreciate you being here. And you've been a great supporter of our program.
Good.
Clearly.
I mean, overall, there's been a definite shift in my practice. I think there's been a lot of emergencies, a lot of different things going on. So it also required a lot of quick learning with the courts as they move forward. Different rules for every court and how they're handling different things. So it's definitely been a lot of work to figure out how to still practice, but things are still very active. I have almost a hearing per day still.
Wow.
Attorney Cheryl, can you tell us a little bit about how you got into law? And I know you have supported a lot of our fathers here, and just your interest in working with fathers and why you think it's important.
I think the funny part is, as a family attorney, you kind of fall one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
You either end up representing a lot of women or a lot of men. And when I started doing family law back in like 2012 and 13, I just knew other fathers that were friends. And I started assisting them in it's a particular type of practice, right? And so if you've only represented moms, you're not going to know how to represent your dad. So it's a lot more strategic in placement. And so I started representing dads, and then they refer you more dads, and it kind of just keeps going there. So typically attorneys, we end up favoring, not necessarily against representing moms, but you end up favoring a certain clientele in a different base. Initially myself, I joke around that when I was in the 6th grade, I always said, I wrote in a book I wanted to be a lawyer, but you kind of take an arbitrary job when you're little. And when I graduated college in 2006, they kind of said, I studied criminology and law, and they said, well, the economy is starting to go down now. You're going to need a master's to go to law school. It's not going to be sufficient. And one of my friends was like, well, why don't we just go to law school? So we did. It was that simple. We just signed up and went. And I worked at a foreclosure firm, and I just didn't really feel like I was doing practicing law. And then I would help friends on the side do family cases, not going to court yet. And I realized I liked it so much more. So then I went out on my own and started that be my primary area.
Wow. Well, thank you for doing what you do. I know our dads here appreciate it. I could pretty sure say the same thing for other dads out there.
Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing.
And Cheryl, so as I was listening to you, what are your own perspective as a lawyer, as you're out there supporting fathers? What do you see that, what's the message you want to convey to people when it comes to supporting that as a lawyer?
I think children need their mother and their fathers equally. That I think that children do better when they have two healthy parents in their lives. And the fact of the matter is that shutting out a father is not going to make it better for your children. And so coming from the premise of equality and how they should be treated in the family court is important. Is that when you have two parents and you have two kids and two homes, the child just does so much better. Even I joke around like Alicia Keys, obviously there was all those rumors with LaShawn and how much they hate each other.
Yeah.
They put the work in to really work towards being a blended happy family, and she wrote a book on it. And I think it's like when a kid can have, plus parents, or two couples that are happy, I'll only say two happy couples raising a child is better than two angry parents together. And to then, for instance, stick with someone who you're unhappy with just to merely get your parenting rights, because the reality is the kids can sense it out at age 2. They know when mom and dad don't like each other. And I think the biggest thing is that when a dad comes to me and a child's a teenager, it's so much harder. And yes, it's annoying, and yes, court is not the favorite place to be, but you have to, you can't just back off and let it happen to you,
Yeah.
But I do think it requires a lot of patience to go through the court system.
Any recommendations on how fathers can maintain their, patience as they are working with navigating the court system? I know it can be extremely difficult. Any best practices for dads that will listen to this that you would recommend?
I think the big things or the tips I give my dads is that if you're upset about something that mom did, send a letter to me, email it to yourself, write it in a journal. Don't let her know when you're mad, right? Don't let her know you got to her, and certainly don't let your kids know. I think it requires a level of maturity, and it's not about you, it's your kids, right? And so I think the reality is that what I need from my dad is to just be consistent and be the long game, right? Like, in order to get to a joint custody place, you have to, there's preseason, like in football, and preseason lasts until you have joint custody, right? So you can't just have, a bad week where you decide you don't want to show up, or you're going to have a blowout, or you're going to let your emotions run into your kids, because the kids, they feel that, right? So I think it's really best practices are to keep your upset emotions to yourself, as hard as that may is. Document, like I tell all my dads, keep a calendar. Like when someone comes to me and like, I've been, I've seen my kids, every weekend, and it's been 2 years, I'm not sure how often, it's really hard. Like, it's better for me to walk in a court and say, this dad, missed 14 visits on these dates.
Yeah.
Okay.
Versus, like, generally speaking, moms block them out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to work in concrete numbers, and it's about longevity. Like, a dad that does great for a month versus I come in on a status date and it's been 6 months of consistent behavior, then the judge can trust that you're going to continue that consistent behavior. So it's about not getting frustrated with how long it takes to get there.
Wow. Thank you for that, Cheryl. I kind of want to get into obviously win COVID-19 and ask you some stuff, but it seems like we have one dad. Do we have one dad that want to kind of chime in and ask the questions, right? So let's see. Who do we have? I believe we have Mr. Larry. Larry, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. What's up, man?
Hey, Larry.
Hey, what's up, Charles? Hey, what's up, Leonard?
Thank you for joining in, man.
We're doing good, man. We miss you, bro.
Yeah, I miss you guys too, man. Awesome meeting Monday. Good seeing you guys again.
Yes, it was a pleasure to have you in group on Monday, man. As you know, we still, serving and connecting folks. But you had a question, man, for Attorney Cheryl?
Yeah, I mean, as far as like child support goes, it seems rather like the whole setup on how they structured child support seems really unfair to fathers. Like they add up the mom's income, and even if let's say the mom's making more than the dad, he's got to pay more, even though he's barely making by, like on minimum wage, like $12 an hour. He got to like take care of himself and still be able to provide for his child, but it's got to be within reason, and I feel like the court system doesn't take that really into consideration. So my question is, how does child support affect fathers that are not financially healthy to make these huge payments every single week to these moms?
So I think I agree it's unfair, and I don't know what the right answer is, but I also know it costs a lot of money to raise a child. So the fact of the matter is, if I'm a mom, and let's just say I happen to find a job and I'm making $60,000 a year, does that mean that I should be the sole financial breadwinner for the child? And the answer is always going to be no. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the number you're paying is appropriate, but when a child comes into this world, both parties need to be financially responsible for that child. I think what needs to be fair or appropriate is figuring out how do you find the right number or what makes sense. Like, I do think, for instance, it may seem completely unfair where I have a case where a mom makes 6 figures, she's remarried, and the guy's making 6 figures, and you're on minimum wage. It feels like she doesn't need my money, right? Mm-hmm. And the reality is, the court they kind of try to take a very neutral position where it's like, this is your child. You both should be paying for summer camp. You both should be paying, should be paying for, these pieces, right? And so I think the hard part is that I personally think, like, for those who really know about child support, it's based on gross income. I think it should be based on net income, because that number on gross income is unrealistic. We have to pay taxes, and they go out to Uncle Sam. So I think that makes it unfair. But I think the harder part is that, when you look at someone who's making a minimum wage, what's going on to figure that out, or what's those moving pieces? Or I think it's like, what's the information? For instance, if you have a child support order and let's say it goes in on May 1st and you get a second job on June 2nd, the child support guidelines say we're not going to consider that second job income, that you should be allowed to replace and move forward with what you're doing to kind of replenish that part of it. And I think, like, I have a case where a dad, he works for his family, claims he only makes X a week. If your numbers look fishy, the court's not stupid. They've been doing this for a million years.
Wow.
So I think it's really tough, or it may not seem fair. I think sometimes, for instance, a dad might get out of work and not want to go back to court, and you wait a year, and then you're like, well, why won't they give me a credit for that year I was out of work? The reality is they only go forward, not backwards. And so, again, it's really about advocating for yourself and getting in there,
right,
and showing the judge, here's my income, and this is why this child support amount is detrimental to me. There's some judges that will say, okay, well, we'll give you some of a break. I think it depends upon, like, for instance, in downtown, I know all the attorneys over there. And if it's the arguments presented in a certain way, they're going to figure out how to be a little more fair. Do I think when you walk in there blindly, they take you for what they can and just run the guidelines and walk out with a number? Absolutely. I think you just have to be mindful on how you advocate.
Right. And so, and it sounds like you got to do your due diligence too as dad, right?
I have a question for you that I wanted to ask you. So I know you mentioned the number, right? What would be your recommendations for best practices in finding that right number? I know some dads may struggle with calculations. Any thoughts about steps they can take to really identify a number that could be potentially feasible, good for them, but also be accepted by the court? Or is it like Russian roulette, whatever? I mean.
Well, so here's my thing. In my experience in these last 10 years,
Yeah.
the moms that want the straight guideline number, you know who they typically are? The mother that has been paying for all of it on her own for the last 2 years. The mother that hasn't, asked you to help her out with this is not every case, but I typically find if a mother is like adamant, she's either emotionally hurt because there might have been the relationship fallout, or she has been left to do it on her own. So like when dads come to me and say, hey, mom wants a little more money for, school clothes or the birthday party or Christmas, pay it. Because it's not going to be with child support, it's going to be downtown. The reality is mom's never going to ask for more than the court's going to order. And so you can't, and trust me, again, I work with my dad, but like you can't just ignore when she says, hey, can I have an extra $100 because I need to, I need extra groceries. Pay it. Because I promise you, if you go downtown and you get the straight child support number, it's going to be more. And so sometimes a lot of women, they come for frustration because they've been handling everything on their own for too long. So it's really about, if you are making payments and you come to someone and say, hey, can I make this? If parties file a joint agreement, and as long as the mom's not on welfare, the court will accept your joint agreement, right? So again, it comes into working out, like, how do I, number one, make sure the mother of my children feels appreciated for taking care of the children. Even if you hate her guts, you got to fake it till you make it.
Oh, I like that. Fake it till you make it. Okay. Now you talking to me now.
And the reality is, when I have cases with my dad's making minimum wage, and then I'll ask, well, mom asked for, she's like, look, Cheryl, because I usually have to talk to the mom. I asked for extra money for this, and he'll tell me no. Or I said, can we do this? And he says no. Right? And I get it. If you don't feel you have it, you feel like, why do you keep asking me for more money all the time? And it's not, and so then they feel they have to be left to the resort of the probate court. So I think if you have a decent relationship now, number one, send it on Cash App. Please document voluntary payments.
Cash App. Hold up. Send it on Cash App. You hear that? Send it on Cash App. I like that. Okay.
Send it on Venmo. Have electronic receipts because she will lie her teeth that you take cash. I don't, don't set it in cash. If she says, hey, can I, and the thing is too, it's very easy to put in the court calculator what you will be paying, and you'll find her asking for a little extra around school, birthday, and Christmas is not what a normal order will be. Now, sometimes the mother will come because you have a new girlfriend. I tell you right now, you may feel like it's not her business.
Watch out, Cheryl.
Another woman around your children, it is her business. Women are emotional creatures. You have to find a way to make sure that information is presented well. This may not feel fair, but the reality is you have to work with this person. So I find like when a mother comes for full child support, it's because she's either on her own financially because you've left her there, and maybe it's not your own reasons, but you've left her to financially take care of your child. There's a new person in your life, so she's bitter about it potentially. So there's all these different factors. So I never find a case where mom and dad work together, they figure out a parenting plan, or maybe they just argue about how many days a week, but at least he's helping her out, and they have at least a decent relationship. Having that woman does not beat you over the head with housing.
Okay. Attorney Cheryl,
motivated.
okay. I have a question for you too with the dads behind bars. What would you say for dads who have to pay child support, who are incarcerated? What are some things that they can do to get a modification, or what would be your recommendation?
They need to immediately file to modify their order to the lowest number possible.
Okay.
Because it's going to keep running because they're under bars.
Okay.
So minimum amount is $19 a week, right?
Oh, okay.
And so they need to immediately apply for that credit, right? Because the reality is that they don't. Let's just say their order was like 100 or 150 before they went in. It's going to keep running and they're going to keep owing it. So they need to immediately send the paperwork in to modify their child support to the minimum amount because they're incarcerated. That's number one. And when you get out, let's just say, for instance, you get out of jail and you owe $10,000. That's when you apply to get a payment plan. The Department of Revenue is only allowed to pay, for instance, let's just say your child support order after you get out of jail goes back up to 100 because you should be making a minimum wage at least. And you owe $5,000. you need to apply for a payment plan because the Department of Revenue only has legal right to take 23% of your current order. What that translates to is, even though you owe $6,000, you'll pay $123 and then still be current on your order. Right? You want to get current on that back payment because if you ignore it, they can take your license, they can stop your passport, they can, all these things. But you got to get current on a payment plan.
Hey, Cheryl, you preaching.
As long as you're on that payment plan, even if it's $20 a week on $10,000, you're still considered current as long as you're on your payment plan.
Girl, you get me fired up. I see why you're an attorney. Oh my gosh, you picked the perfect field.
Wow.
Man, that's important information because we have a lot of cases with dads who are behind bars who don't even know they need to call DRR. So thank you for informing us of what we need to do.
Wow. No, it's amazing. I think that's what it's about. I think information, and obviously, it impacts your wellness when you're just so overwhelmed and how to navigate that. But information is key. Cheryl, can you transition to COVID-19? Well, what are some, in terms of court-wise in Massachusetts, what's going on and what did child support during COVID-19, look like?
Obviously, for instance, if you lost your job, right, due to COVID-19,
yeah,
and you've applied for unemployment or pandemic insurance, you can always, what happens is if I file today and mail in a modification due to losing my job, the court will look at the service date for when they backtrack. Meaning, don't wait to see what happens. Mail it in, get it served, because you can still do that now. And then let's just say your court date, unfortunately, is not for a while because of COVID. The court will look backwards. If they agree with you, you legitimately lost your job, they will adjust your child support to your unemployment wages, right, instead of your old salary. And then they can request that the order be retroactive to the service date. So the faster you apply for it, the faster the court will go backwards. So that way your arrears that you're building up, if you can't afford to pay right now because you haven't even received your unemployment, at least the amount you owe will not be so high.
That's good to know.
I like that.
So they are having emergency court dates, and on Monday they've announced that they will have non-emergent scheduled court dates on the phone. What that means are that if you have a court date, don't think just because the world's closed you don't have court. Call in and check if they switch it to a telephone hearing. Because there's going to be standing orders issuing out today or tomorrow regarding the Supreme Court loosening the ability of what could be on the phone or not. Up until Monday, only emergency matters are being held over the phone, and now they're going to allow certain non-emergency hearings. So you might still have court, but it might be on the phone.
Can you file a motion during COVID-19? What's the process? Let's say, okay.
I've literally had 5 hearings last week. I had 3 hearings. I had a hearing today. So motions are allowed, but they have to be for emergency purposes.
Okay.
Or also, the Supreme Judge Casey issued a standing order for the state.
Okay.
That parenting time is to continue absent someone having
Okay. When was that issued?
So the issue was that some moms are like, let's just say I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I'm like, I don't want my kids to leave.
Yeah.
I'd rather him just stay at home and be safe. Judge Casey announced, and he's the head judge of all the probate courts, the parenting plan pursuant to your judgment should be followed even with COVID-19.
Wow.
Right, parenting time first scheduled right now. And so you can file an emergency motion for return of the child based upon the current even though COVID's happening. Now, if someone in your house has COVID, you're going to have to wait. Or if you're really sick, like I had a case that a mother was super sick, we made her go get tested, right? But the reality is if no one's sick, parenting time resumes right now.
It must have been a recent announcement. That's good to know.
Yeah. And obviously because it's always some update and, thank you for that, Cheryl.
Cheryl, now, Attorney Cheryl, quick question. Stimulus money from the government. Is DRR taking that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, let me code it for you. If you owe child support, they are sending it to the mother.
Okay.
So your money might already be in the mother's DOR account. She might not even know it. She doesn't have to apply. But the reality is, if you owe child support, they're saying, why should we give you a paycheck if you owe child support?
So no stimulus for dads who owe child support. You hear that, dads? All right.
I know it's not easy to hear, man.
It isn't.
Hang in there.
Hang in there.
That's the reason why. Go ahead.
I don't like to those things. You know how I am.
Yeah, listen, you straightforward. I like that.
No, like I said, me and Charles know that, it's not easy to have this conversation with our dad, but it's good to know. And the fact that having you here and sharing that information to let the dad know out there, we're here to support. And this is the reason why.
The reality is they take your taxes anyway, so it's no different than them taking your tax refund. It may not feel fair, but they take your tax refund if you owe now You're looking at it like it's not.
So if you're on a payment plan, they won't touch your stimulus or your taxes. That's important to know.
They still touch the stimulus if you owe, but they shouldn't be touching your taxes if you're current.
Okay.
But if you currently are in arrears, meaning you're backed up and not paying,
Okay.
then they'll touch your taxes.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for that clarity. I know we had some dads ask us that question.
And also, and we got about bank accounts too. What are your thoughts on that? Because it's like I don't want to open a new bank account, child support. What do you say to the dads out there? I know that issue comes up too.
Turn on your payment plans before you open that bank account. Because if you're current, they only levy if you are backed up. So let's just say, say if you have a bank account, a lot of dads, they just don't have them. If you have a bank account and you owe money, like, you didn't make 5 payments, they can do a levy if they find that account. So that's why it becomes important to advocate for yourself and get on a payment plan.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's not going away. 20 years from now, it's not going away. It doesn't matter how long it stays there. So it's just getting worse by the longer you refuse to go in and have to modify it and get your straight payment plan. Like, it's not going to get better by sticking your head in the sand,
Speaking on levy on hold right now during COVID-19?
I haven't heard of any IRS doing any levy for my clients, but I don't know that they're necessarily on hold. I mean, I think the reality is that overall support of a child is something prioritized.
Okay.
That's just something that financially they look at it like the children need their support. For instance, if you're in the military, they will take more money out of your check than the government, than child support will.
Okay.
Like, the reality is that the overall arching theory of government is that it's, they honor marriages and they also honor child support. And they put that as a priority.
Awesome. Attorney Cheryl, thank you so much.
You got me all thinking over
for
here,
joining
Cheryl.
us today. This is great. What you shared with us was very informative for me and also for the fathers that are tuning in. And we just appreciate the support that you're giving us here at Fathers Uplift. And shout out to you for doing such a great work in the community.
You're amazing, Cheryl. Thank you for everything. Appreciate you. Stay safe. And we'll look forward to engage more. Take care.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Take care.
Bye, Cheryl.
Bye-bye.
Wow.
Wow.
Woo. A lot of information, Charles.
That was great. Listen, she's
something else, right?
go straight. She shoot straight from the hip. She don't avoid no question. Listen, this is my thoughts. Boom. I like that.
Yeah, Cheryl.
No wonder you've been working with her here at Fathers Uplift.
Man, listen.
Leonard does a lot of the work with the legal advocacy, and she's definitely good. I like her a lot.
She is. And I think, part of our advocacy group is like, we're not a lawyer, but we want to make sure that we partner with Cheryl, Laura like Cheryl. And I think to be passionate, to be into it too. It's a team effort. Shout out to Cheryl, include all the lawyers out there who work with Dad.
Shout out. We appreciate you. Shout out to the family probate courts too.
Yeah.
We know your job isn't easy, but continue to do what you do and allow dads and us who are advocating for them to do just that. On that note, we got to end, guys.
Keep pushing, keep thriving.
See you next week at AFAR.
Take care.
All right. Peace.